Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, the president invited 14 middle-class Americans to stand with him as he spoke on next steps for our continued economic recovery, honored Veterans Day with veterans, service members, and their families at Arlington National Cemetery, held a news conference in the East Room, and traveled to New York to continue to work on recovery efforts from Hurricane Sandy. That's November 9th to November 15th, or That's Who We Are. On Friday, the president spoke to reporters in the East Room, flanked by middle-class Americans, and urged House Republicans to support a Senate-passed bill that would prevent tax increases on middle-class families and 97% of American small businesses from taking effect at the end of the year.
While there may be disagreement in Congress over whether or not to raise taxes on folks making over $250,000 a year, nobody, not Republicans, not Democrats, want taxes to go up for folks making under $250,000 a year. So let's not wait. Even as we're negotiating a broader deficit reduction package, let's extend the middle-class tax cuts right now. Let's do that right now. And I've got the pen, ready to sign the bill right away. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to do it.
On Sunday, the President and First Lady were joined by the Vice President, Dr. Biden, to honor Veterans Day at Arlington National Cemetery, where the President laid a wreath, addressed the gathering at the Memorial Amphitheater, and traveled to Section 60 to visit with families of service members killed in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Today, the proud nation expresses our gratitude, but we do so mindful that no ceremony or parade, no hug or handshake is enough to truly honor that service. For that, we must do more. For that, we must commit, this day and every day, to serving you as well as you've served us. So long after the battles end, long after our heroes come home, we stay by their side. That's who we are.
On Wednesday, the president convened an East Room news conference where he pledged to work with Democrats and Republicans to find a balanced deficit reduction solution. He also repeated his view that the plan should strengthen the middle class, help create good private sector jobs, and asked those at the top of the income scale to do their fair share to deal with our deficit challenges.
I've got one mandate. I've got a mandate to help middle-class families and families that are working hard to try to get in the middle class. That's my mandate. That's what the American people said. They said, work really hard to help us. Don't worry about the politics of it. Don't worry about the party interests. Don't worry about the special interests. Just work really hard to see if you can help us get ahead, because we're working really hard out here and we're still struggling, a lot of us. That's my mandate.
On Thursday, the president traveled to Staten Island, New York, to meet with state and local officials about the ongoing response and recovery efforts for Hurricane Sandy. He thanked first responders and comforted victims still struggling with the effects of the superstorm that ravaged the region.
Hey, young man, what's your name? Andrew, how old are you? 8 years old? All right. Well, how you doing in school? Doing pretty good? I'm proud of you, man.
Back at the White House, Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes gave us a preview of the president's upcoming trip to Asia.
The president's trip to Asia is his first trip overseas since he was reelected as president of the United States, and it's a huge opportunity for us to extend one of his most important foreign policy agendas, which is expanding U.S. leadership in the Asia-Pacific region. We're beginning our trip in Bangkok, Thailand, and Thailand is one of the closest allies that we have in the region. And we really think that our engagement with Asia begins and ends with our allies. So in Thailand, we'll talk about our security cooperation, our economic cooperation, and the ways in which the American people and the Thai people can build even closer bonds going forward. Then we're going to make history as President Obama becomes the first U.S. president to ever visit Burma. We're making this visit because the Burmese people have made extraordinary progress towards a transition to democracy. We've seen hundreds of political prisoners released from prison. We've seen Aung San Suu Kyi, the democracy icon, released from house arrest and her party elected to parliament. And we've seen ceasefires reached with many ethnic groups that had been fighting insurgencies against the government for so many years. Yet there's still much more work to be done in Burma. They're at the beginning of their democratic transition, not the end. So the president will speak to the Burmese people about the progress that we've seen and the hope we have for their future, as well as meeting with Aung San Suu Kyi and Burma's President Thein Sein. Then we'll move on to Cambodia, where he'll attend the East Asia Summit and meet with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. These two organizations are critical to our engagement with all of Asia and Pacific nations so we can build an agenda where we're working together to deal with challenges like maritime security, energy cooperation, deeper trade and investment that supports jobs and opportunity at home and in the Asia-Pacific region. So we're going to make a lot of progress on this trip. Hopefully we're going to also eat a lot of good Thai food and Burmese food and Cambodian food, something that I'm particularly excited about. But we're also going to make some history, as, again, President Obama is going to be the first U.S. president to visit both Burma and Cambodia, where I think he'll send a strong message about America's interests, but also America's values and our commitment to human rights in this incredibly important part of the world. Thanks very much.
To find out more information on any of these topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.